All right, everyone. Welcome to what we've called the Inspired Women's Zoom call. This idea originated as a brunch because women love brunches. And what we did was we brought a whole bunch of women together and we did some activities and then we did some talks and we shared from our hearts the things that have changed our lives or we've learned over time to try to inspire women and build strength. A lot of times life throws you curveballs and it's all about what you're going to do with them. So tonight we're going to talk about a few of those things and kind of how we've turned our pain into purpose and different tips and tricks with that, and talk about self-care, especially because as women we tend to give and take care of a lot of other people in our lives, and self-care is really important because essentially you can't pour from an empty cup. So to be able to help others, you have to first give to yourself. So that's why self-care is going to be one of the most important topics we talk about. So at the brunch, we started off with a writing activity. And just because of the way this Zoom call is we're not going to do the writing activity on the Zoom call, but you can find it in the Facebook event, and I'll post a follow-up in that Facebook event. The other thing we're thinking of is people want to continue on with like a group of inspiring women. We might make a Facebook group where we can post like personal development and inspiring strength quotes and different things if we want to come together as a group and do that. And then I could post writing activities in that group for women to try out if that's something people are interested in. So for this call, what we're going to do is just kind of share from our hearts different things. If you read the poster, one of the topics is taking care of yourself. And so I should introduce myself maybe before I introduce someone else. My name's Kim Faber, and I'm one of the speakers for this Zoom call because I have a huge passion for helping other people. I'm a registered nurse and I travel to different emergency rooms in Canada. And then on top of that, I'm a certified yoga instructor and certified health coach. I always look to what's helped me in my life, and then I find ways to share that with others. One of the hardest things for me is watching people suffer. So I like to always look at the lessons I've learned in my life and try and share those with others. So our first speaker for tonight is going to be Cindy Brills. She is an exercise physiologist. She's worked as a personal trainer for a number of years, and now she's turned that passion into inspiring healthy living around the world. So she's going to share a bit about herself, and then she's going to share some self-care tips with you.
Thanks, Kim. All right, I'll jump right into it for us ladies. So like Kim said, I get to focus on self-care, which is really awesome because I need that reminder myself. I know especially, being a woman, and especially sometimes for any of you moms, you may not prioritize it as much as we should. Like, we're all just so busy, right? It seems like there's never enough hours in the day. We're just trying to get through our massive to-do list or deal with what we have to. Like, who has time for self-care and getting a massage and doing all this? So I really want you to think, though, like, would you guys agree that when we eat better, we feel better, right? Yes. When we exercise, we feel more positive, we feel more energetic. Yes. And when we're less stressed, we're better people to be around. We're even better able to be around ourselves, right? So it's really important and it's so worth it. So I want to share some ways tonight that we can take care of ourselves, some ways that we can truly invest in ourselves. And are any of these going to be brand new concepts? Probably not. But my hope is that maybe you learn a new fact or a tip, or that it's something you've heard but you've never actually implemented it, so now you're going to. And I honestly advise focusing on one simple change. So as a personal trainer, I saw people try and change things drastically all the time. And for the majority of the population, that doesn't work long term. So I love focusing on one simple change. Pick one thing. And when I say simple, I mean simple. Like on a scale of 9 out of 10, you're going to be able to do this like a 9 out of 10 every day. So do it and keep doing it until it becomes a habit, and then add one more thing. So maybe that'll be the thing with the tips. Tonight, I'm going to talk about 5 areas of self-care. There's definitely more than that, and Linnea is going to touch on a bit after, but these are the 5 I'm going to focus on. The first is breath. Breath significantly impacts our digestion and our stress levels. So I love to use breath during moments of stress or anger. Like we can feel it when we build up. Maybe it's we read a text from someone and probably misinterpret it like everyone does through texting, and it makes us mad. So instead of just being like, nah, 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 right back, you're going to pause and you're going to take 3 deep breaths, because that is going to help and allow you to be able to respond intelligently and calmly versus just react. So use the breath in moments of anger, in moments of stress. Calm down. And honestly, for me, sometimes I'm like, 3 breaths, God, that's taking way too long. Like, I can't even get through the 3 breaths. And it's like, no, you have to do it. It's worth it. So my second tip I want you to focus on is sleep. I'm obsessed with sleep research right now. I think it's so interesting. There's a lot of research coming out now about the importance of it. It's a huge connection, guys, to our energy, of course, but also to disease and to weight management and our hormones and our metabolism. So it is important. A big tip for this, I advise getting a dawn simulation alarm clock. So I have one right here beside my salt lamp. You can see it, it's this guy. So it's just like this big tube thing, and basically it wakes you up gently with light and then eventually gently with sound. So instead of this harsh beeping, it's way better to wake up to light, and you naturally wake up and it's better for you. As well as on your phone, there is a setting called night shift mode if you have an iPhone. So definitely trying to do that. It blocks some of the harsh blue light. If you're working on your phone like within a couple hours close to bedtime, I seriously advise using that. Or there's something on your computer you can download called f.lux that also does that, and it blocks the harsh blue light if you're working late at night. So f.lux and the night shift mode. My third tip is for water. So dehydration can be linked to a number of different health conditions, and I don't think we really prioritize this enough, like especially musculoskeletal conditions. Dehydration is hugely linked. So my favorite tip, I prefer to drink from a straw. Obviously, like I drink way more because you don't have to unscrew, you don't have to tip. Like, Kim, that's way too much work, all that tipping you're doing. Like, no, straw is the way to go for me. I don't know, it just works. If you find something else that works for you, that's great. Just find a way to drink as much water as possible, because most of us are not drinking enough. My fourth tip is related to exercise and activity. So this is kind of my area, I guess. And there is a difference between exercise, which is structured, planned movement, and physical activity, which is any movement. So do we need to exercise daily? My advice is actually no, because that's not sustainable long term. Do you need to move every day? Absolutely. But maybe the hardcore exercise, you maybe not need to do that every day. So don't beat yourself up if you're not exercising 6 days a week. If you're getting 2 to 3, that's a good thing. That's great. And be proud of that. And don't have this all or nothing mentality. And people often ask me, right? So what's the secret? What's the best exercise? Right? Everyone wants to know that. So here it is. Ta-da! It's variety. So it's not one thing, it's doing a bunch of different things. Do yoga one day, do CrossFit, do running, do hiking, do stretching, do walking, do all kinds of different things. That's the secret to it. And the last tip for self-care that I'm going to focus on is food, because we of course know how nourishing and important it is for our bodies and our minds to eat well, as well as all those other things. So there's so many diets and supplements out there. It can be overwhelming. I totally understand. So let's try and simplify on one common denominator that most diets or health programs have out there, except for some really crazy low-carb ones. And that would be to eat as many fruits and vegetables as possible. Eat a highly plant food diet, and that's pretty standard across the board. Most people would agree that's healthy, to consume more plant foods than we are. So I'm constantly working on my fruit and vegetable intake, you guys. Like, it is not my strength. And some people assume because I'm a personal trainer and I'm in that world that the whole nutrition side is second nature to me. And that's just not the case. Like, I struggle a lot with my nutrition. So it's definitely always a work in progress for me. So you would think that when I heard about these little fruit and vegetables in a capsule, also known as Juice Plus, that I would have been like all over it, like this is exactly what I need and all that. But you're wrong. I pretty much ignored it. I lumped it in with all the other supplements that are out there. Again, I'm not much of a supplement girl. It's very overwhelming. I don't trust things long term, maybe. I just was like, that's not me to take things, and I feel fine. So I lumped it all in there. I ignored Juice Plus for actually over 5 years. So that was until I went to a free health talk, and I finally listened with open ears, and I fell in love and was like, okay, yes, this is something I'm all over. Like it is food, which we're going to talk about. And at the time too, I was wanting to get pregnant. So I wanted to be as healthy as I could be for my baby. So in short, what Juice Plus is it's over 25 different types of produce that have been grown until completely ripe on these beautiful family farms. Then they're picked and they're thrown into like a big grinder. The whole food goes in, ground down into like a slurry. And then the water and sugar are naturally removed at very low temperatures. Now what you're left with is this phytonutrient powder. And they put that phytonutrient powder in a capsule or chewable. So it's really the solution for us with this issue of like between what we should eat for optimal health and what we do eat. It's helping nudge us closer to that goal. So it's not a replacement for real food. It's just helping getting that nutrition that we can't get. Because the recommendations nowadays are to get 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. And that's what we need to be our best selves, to combat nutrition, to combat disease. And it's so hard nowadays because that number is so high because we have tons of toxins in our world that we need to combat. And the quality of our produce has gone way down. So we have to eat way more quantity in order to get the same results that our grandparents used to. So we've definitely tried vitamins, right? Maybe some of us still do. And thankfully, the research is coming through that, maybe not thankfully, it's kind of sad, but that vitamins are not doing what we thought they would do for us, and they may even be harming us. So it's definitely time to maybe take a look at those synthetic vitamins and go, okay, what am I really taking? What is this really doing for me? And asking yourself that. So there's really a few reasons that Juice Plus is so powerful, even in people who are good eaters. Like I have a vegetarian and a vegan friend who take it, and I was thinking like, you wouldn't need this, but they're still seeing benefits. And it's because of a couple things. It's vine ripened. Again, the produce we're getting right now is not vine ripened. The produce that's been sitting on a truck for a few weeks, like that's not feeding our soul. That's not feeding our body. That's just eating like dead, gross food. Or if you're like microwaving it or whatever you're doing to it, putting cheese sauce on it, like it's not what your body needs. So it's really high quality produce that goes into Juice Plus, which I love. They actually use the whole food when applicable. So peels, pits, seeds, things we normally throw out that have tons of nutrition, but we don't eat because they're gross or they're too much work to eat. And there's a variety. So you're flooding your body when you take Juice Plus, our powdered produce capsules. You're getting over 25 different types. So your cells are extremely happy when that's going through your body every day. And the fourth reason it's so powerful is consistency, because it's not a juice. So if you're a juicer, that's awesome. But if you're trying to juice every day, to get like the health benefits consistently, that's really hard upkeep, and it's really expensive, and it's hard to get high quality, and it's wasteful. So, I mean, I'm willing to pay Juice Plus to do all that work for me and put it in a capsule. It just makes sense. So it's really easy to do it every day. And like I said, it's dried at low temperatures. So the enzymes actually stay active. So like when I would open up a capsule into my daughter's food to give it to her when she was really young, it would start to liquefy that food like right away because it's actually like active, and those enzymes are actively breaking it down. So that's why it's so great for gut health. And all the sugars are naturally removed. So how amazing is that for diabetics? Awesome. And it's been around since 93. I think that's important. Longevity is something that we can really rely on. And it's NSF certified. So me taking this while I was pregnant, that's really important. They're a quality control company. They come in and they make sure that there's no molds or pesticides or heavy metals or other contaminants. It's probably the cleanest food in your kitchen. And it's basically safe from the womb to the tomb. And the thing that really sets us apart from all the other stuff out there is our gold standard research. It's huge to me. Like as a science nerd, that's really important for me. And I just love, it proves that number one, Juice Plus is bioavailable. It gets in the body and it acts like real fruits and vegetables would, which is really, really powerful, among other things, like for cardiovascular health, to immune system health, to protecting DNA and our hair and our skin and our nails. Like, I could spend hours talking about the research because there's over 35 published clinical studies. And I just love knowing that Juice Plus as a company pours their money into research just to prove that these fruits and vegetables are safe and they're effective. So that's really cool. They take their question to a high-level university, then they back off. They have no control over the answer, and it's placebo-controlled, done on humans, and actually using Juice Plus, which is really cool because most companies, if they even have research, use borrowed research. And one of our favorite studies is the Children's Health Study. So it allows kids or full-time university students to get their Juice Plus for free under a sponsoring adult. How cool is that? And all they ask for is a survey that the parent or the kid fills out, being like, oh, are you drinking more water, missing less school, eating more fruits and vegetables? And they've found that, yes, all of these kids are experiencing crazy benefits just from flooding their body with extra nutrition. So that's Juice Plus. I love it. I think it's the coolest thing ever. Like, I went from being like totally oblivious about it to shouting it from the rooftops, because how can you not let people know that this exists? And our second product is Juice Plus Complete, and that's a whole food shake and bar line, which I'm actually really excited about too, because you know how long I searched for a good tasting, high quality protein powder or bar, right? Like, there's, again, so much out there. So I love it, and I love how it's food-based. It's my favorite thing when it comes back, if we circle back to the self-care. It's giving us self-care instead of like self-indulgence. Like we usually like to, if we're feeling stressed or down, grab something not so good for us. But you can grab this instead, and it's going to still taste amazing, and it's going to balance your blood sugars to help you with cravings. And always, I like to think about, when it comes to nutrition, focus more on just like adding in the good. Don't think about restricting yourself, but add in so much good that there's no room for the bad left. So imagine if you were eating out every morning at Tim Hortons eating a breakfast sandwich and you replaced it with the Juice Plus Complete shake. How would that impact your day? Like, that would change so much. So I love the bar and shake line. It's convenience you can feel good about, and there's research on it as well, which is really cool. And then the third option and final option that the company offers people to take control of their health is the Tower Garden. So if you guys haven't heard about this, you're missing out, because it's a vertical, soil-free gardening system that allows you to grow your own produce even year-round. There's grow lights. So there's no soil, no weeding. It waters itself. The plants grow awesome. So it's really cool. And they're even getting popular in schools, senior homes, all those things. So this company is just on a mission to inspire healthy living. And those are 3 tools that we have to help us do that. And it's all just focused on helping people live better lives, basically, and feel better. It's focused on helping you get nutrition into your body in convenient and cost-effective ways. And I say cost-effective because literally I went grocery shopping a couple hours ago. There was the little thing of blueberries, like 1 cup. It was $5.99, non-organic. Juice Plus for a top of the top is about half of that. Like, and not that I'm going to stop eating blueberries, I still am, but my daughter will eat that in like 10 minutes. And it's just like, that's a lot. Whereas we can get those high quality, expensive berries in our Juice Plus as well every single day. So that makes me feel really, really good. And so as a health nerd, I just really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share that info with people. Like, I've known I wanted to be in the fitness industry since I was 13. And, in school, we were asked to make a list of our goals, and I had that on there. And I would always read fitness magazines and do my mom's old VHS videos, like Buns of Steel. That was me when I was like 13. And I tell you that because when it comes to figuring out your best path in life, and I think it's useful to look back at what you did when you were young. What did you love? What do you love now that you don't get paid for? So look at that. For me, I just love the concept of living your best life. And I chose exercise as a career because it was one tool for self-improvement. But for me, as I started working in the field, I realized that there were some struggles for me. And in the last few years, I felt like I no longer really belonged in that traditional fitness world that I was in. So thankfully, I listened to my gut, as we all should, even though it can be scary sometimes. And I said yes to sharing Juice Plus and being involved in this company with more intention, because I was a customer already, like naturally recommending it to people. So I just made it official and aligned with the company. And luckily it's not that hard because it was $50 to join and I got that back right away. And we just don't have any monthly requirements, which I love. I don't have to be a salesperson kind of. So that was just over a little 2 years ago. And I'll share just a little bit of a snapshot of how it's impacted my life. And I share this to just hopefully help inspire you. And that if you're not happy in an area of your life, that you have the power to take control of it. You have the power to make a different decision and go a different way. So for me, my husband used to work away and we hated it. It was not the life for us that we wanted long term. And so because of this income that we've brought in, he's been able to take a job at home that's lower paying, but that allows him to be home every single night, which has been such a huge change for our life and such a blessing, especially with having a daughter. And for myself, like I was a self-employed fitness instructor and I had no mat leave pay. When Kim talks about kind of turning your pain into purpose, this isn't super deep, but that could be a problem for some people, like no mat leave pay and I'm having a baby, what are we going to do? So instead, this business has rewarded me far more than I would have made in a typical mat leave position. And I've been able to connect with like this community of amazing people. And that's really important. Talk about self-care after you have a baby. You often moms, and that's where some postpartum depression comes in, like you're maybe feeling isolated or whatever. I have this huge community of people I take with me everywhere all the time. And, you know, people would ask like, are you getting out enough? I'm like, I think we could stand to stay home a little more probably. Like it was good though. So, I mean, that was huge. And now my daughter's over a year and I'm not back at work. I'm not forced to go back to a job and I don't want to because that doesn't fit with the lifestyle that I want right now. Evenings are a precious time for us. And for me, I'd have to be working a lot of evenings, early mornings, and my husband's home now, but never see him. So it's just been huge. And I now know that I have a new tool to help people with self-improvement. And that was really my main goal, not exercise. And I can still use exercise and love it, but, you know, train my husband when I get the urge. And I get to still share that passion with people. And I get to still check mark that box of helping people lead more awesome lives. And that's the whole goal behind it. So know that if you're stuck in one path, you don't have to be stuck on that exact path, and you can find a way that works for you. So this has just been an awesome way too for me to connect with old friends. Like Kim was my roommate back in college, and I brought up Juice Plus with her about 2 years ago when I was first kind of starting, because I just wanted her opinion on the research, basically an unbiased opinion. So, and I'll just let her share a bit about that, but you'll kind of see why, like, I just can't keep this to myself, because too, another thing that's really interesting is you never know what someone is struggling with, because you just never know. So thank you guys so much for letting me share. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and mute you, and then I'll lead into my story. So Cindy did share Juice Plus with me 2 years ago now, and I'm so thankful that she did. And it's really funny. She shared it to me because of the research, because she had no idea what I was dealing with behind closed doors. And that's kind of the thing, is we always say be kind to everyone because you don't know what other people are struggling with, and it's so true. So I just want to take you through a journey a bit, like as quick as I can, through my struggle with my health, and just show you how big of a difference she made, even though she had no idea. So I was born a pretty healthy kid. I only had allergies to cats when I was born, and it made the hardest choice for my mom because she had to choose me or the cat. They were that severe. And then that progressed into chronic strep throat infections. So I got my tonsils out at a really young age, but that didn't stop the strep throat. I kept getting it. And so by the time I was in nursing school, in college, I was about 20 years old. I was getting these strep throat infections every single year. And it wouldn't just be a sore throat and antibiotics. It would be a sore throat and then waiting a few days. And then my throat would start to bleed and have pus coming up. Nothing would go down. And the infection would spread to my bloodstream and I'd need IV antibiotics, which is really serious. When an infection goes into your bloodstream, it can lead to like multiple organ failure. So it was really like serious how bad my immune system was. But I always just assumed that if something was really wrong, the healthcare system would take care of me. So I had chronic infections and asthma, and I was carrying on through life. And then in third year, I got this massive bout of strep throat. And in nursing school, you pay thousands of dollars in tuition. But if you get sick and you can't go to class, you actually fail the class and you have to be put back a whole year and pay for the course again, which not only puts you back thousands of dollars, but it means you don't get to go to school with your friends anymore. And nursing school is hard enough as it is. So I was trying to hide the fact that I had strep throat. So I waited a whole week before I saw a doctor in the first place. And I just took Tylenol for my fever. And then by the time I saw a doctor, they said it was probably a virus and I should wait it out. So I waited a few more days until my nursing instructor sent me to the emergency room. At that point, the doctor again refused to give me antibiotics and said it's a virus and I just need to take more ibuprofen and that would be fine. So by that point, I'd been turned down by 2 doctors, and I honestly still had the mindset, especially as a nurse, like the medical system will take care of me. If something's really wrong, they know best. And so I waited a bit longer to go back to the hospital, but I waited too long. I ended up at my grandparents' house and I woke up one morning and I couldn't walk and my dad carried me to the emergency room. It took 1 week of IVs before my fever even broke. And then I had another 10 days of antibiotics after that. And that's when my health really started to take a toll. And so in my last couple years in nursing school, it was all mixed with the stress of nursing school plus medical appointments on medical appointments. All of a sudden, one day in the summer between semesters, I had this crushing chest pain and I fainted. And I went to the emergency room and they couldn't find anything wrong. And so I went at least a year where I was fainting almost every single day. So the doctors did what they could. They gave me all the tests they could. I had EEGs, I had ECGs, I had a CT scan. On the CT scan, they said that it could be possible that I have MS or a brain tumor. They saw a spot on it, but they weren't sure what it was, so I need an MRI. Wait times in modern medicine in Canada can be months to years, and it took about 6 months to a year before I even got that MRI. I had to sit with that, being told I might have brain cancer as a 20-year-old girl, and I really didn't tell anybody about it. Cindy was my roommate when all this was happening, and she had no idea. So another lesson in this is you don't need to do everything by yourself. It's painful. Just find people to support you and hold your hand through it, because part of this pain was thinking that I had to go at it alone. I got entered in a study for my heart. So one night I was out dancing with my friends and I had chest pain, and obviously I didn't tell anyone because I never told anyone when I was suffering. And the next thing I knew, I woke up in the emergency room on a whole bunch of heart monitors and had to wait for a cardiologist. This is at the age of 20. Like, it's insane to me that someone so young could be suffering from so much. And so I got put in a cardiac study where they said it was either placebo or a pill. And I was put on the pill because I knew that I looked it up and it had immunosuppressant properties. And I started to get sick more often and I started to get swelling in my feet. So even though the doctor asked me to continue in the study, I pulled myself out. And then at the age of 21, I was on 4 pills a day for my heart. On top of that, I was having huge struggles with my digestive system and my stomach. So I had to be on 4 pills a day for my stomach. I would also get ulcers so bad that I would throw up blood. So I had to be put on a pill for that, and then 2 inhalers. And I just didn't let it shake me, and I kept pushing through and just feeling like if something was really wrong, they would do something different about it. And so as women, we tend to look at taking care of others before ourselves, and that's exactly what I did. I was a nurse at that point, and I just kept on taking care of other people, and I never looked into how I could actually take care of myself. So I moved to Victoria, BC, and at that point I started to eat local fruits and vegetables and eat more fruits and vegetables because my friends were vegan. And I noticed that I started to not need my medicine every day, that there's a lot of days where I was asymptomatic. So I know the power of nutrition and a healthy lifestyle, but it still didn't like put the pieces of the puzzle together for me. As a nurse, I can honestly say I had no idea how important nutrition was. I knew how important medicine was, but I had no idea the power of nutrition. And now once I read those research studies, I knew that nutrition is really powerful. And so I went on living just taking my pills occasionally, and then Cindy shared the research with me on Juice Plus. So now I had a really terrible time with my heart and my immune system. You would think I would have read those studies on the heart health and the immune system health and been all over it, but it was actually the study on tooth health. I had had a root canal in Budapest with no freezing, and another experience where I haven't found the purpose out of that pain yet, other than it led me to Juice Plus. But I decided that my mom and my dad both had kind of not very good dental health. Like genetically, their teeth just weren't the best. My mom had dentures my whole life, so I knew her teeth must have suffered some damage before that, and I had no idea that nutrition affected our tooth health. So I thought genetics did. But what I learned through the Juice Plus company is genetics loads the gun and our lifestyle pulls the trigger. And so these last 2 years I've been learning all about how I can empower myself and my health. Because it would have been really easy for me to feel a victim of all the things I went through and just feel like the doctors weren't helping me, or they messed up because they tried to put me on this pill and it had a bad side effect. But what I realized was it was my own power and my own control to take control of my health. And I don't think I would be where I am right now if I didn't realize that I have to take control of my own health and I have to take control of my own life. There's been a lot of things that have happened to me, and they've always been like pretty terrible, like an abusive relationship. And I've looked back and been like, what is the reason that happened to me? And I had to think maybe the only reason that happened to me is so that I could help someone else. And then recently I found out that truly the way that I learned how to get out of that relationship helped someone else get out of theirs in a really supportive way. And so knowing that things that have happened to us, if we can flip them and turn them into ways to help people, then it's not so painful, is what I found. So that leads me to why I share Juice Plus, is because in these last 2 years, I have not filled a single prescription. I haven't even needed to go take like medicine for a cold. I haven't needed to take medicine for my heart. I haven't fainted. I've climbed mountains by myself. I've climbed to the top, the highest peak in all of Central America, without chest pain, without asthma symptoms, without any of that. And it was all about shifting my lifestyle and taking care of my health and being consistent. I take the Juice Plus capsules every day because I know I'll get 30 fruits and veggies in my diet that day, no matter what I do for the rest of the day. So just the power of positive changes. I traveled to 34 countries in the last 3 years, and I fly to Costa Rica tomorrow, and I can honestly say so thankful to this company and what they've gifted me. And so the changes I saw in my health and the health of my grandpa and the health of my dad, I just couldn't help but share it with people. Working in the emergency room, you see the same people come in over and over again, and chronic conditions are chronic. But I had chronic conditions, and I know how different I feel now. And so just educating people on their health can make a world of a difference. So I made that choice to start sharing Juice Plus because I looked at the cost of buying the business for $50, and I looked at how much they pay you back on your own order, and I would make more back on my own order, even if I didn't share with anyone else in a year, than just not being a part of the business at all, and no monthly minimums. But now what I've started to see is that little discount is turning not only into my plan B in life, because we should always have a backup plan, but my plan A. everyone thinks nursing's a very secure job. You invest like $40,000 into this degree, and there's no guarantee you're going to have a job after. And so when my grandpa got sick earlier this year and I wanted to spend time with him, I've applied to a nursing position in his town for 2 years now, and I've never even gotten an interview. There was no option for me to go to nurse here. But I realized like I had the opportunity to share out Juice Plus with people, and so that's what I did. And I've built myself a solid business. I love the fact that you can earn while you learn, which means that nursing school, you spend 4 years paying into an education, but with this company, you get to earn money while you learn. And as you learn, your income grows. And your income grows the more people you help. I just think it's a beautiful way to help people and support yourself. So everyone's asking like what I'm doing in Costa Rica. And honestly, I'm like working this business because I was like, I can work it anywhere. And so this is what I'll be doing is I'll be hosting team calls. I'll be finding ways to help people. I'll be cheering people on because the other thing that it gifted me was a beautiful community. I've gotten to have a lot of my friends join with me, which has brought us so much closer. I didn't know you could write wine off on your taxes, but you can if it's part of the business. So that's been just like being able to see my friends all over the world through this business has been amazing. So one of my best friends is on the call tonight. She's also a registered nurse. I wouldn't say she stalks me, but I've definitely dragged her to Dawson City, Yukon when it was minus 40. We've met up on a beach in Nicaragua when I was doing my yoga teacher training. And we've also come at each other running through the streets of London to give each other big, huge leap hugs. So she's a gypsy at heart too, and this business just fits us to a T. And one of the biggest blessings, like I said, is the community and the way we get to support each other and help each other out. And that's what she's going to do a bit of her talk on. So Linnea, I'll unmute you and you can go ahead. There you go.
Thanks. Hey everyone, how's the volume? It's okay? Cool. So as Kim said, I'll just touch a little bit more about who I am. I'm also a registered nurse. I work here in Edmonton at the U of A Emerge, Adult Recovery, Pre-Admission Clinic, and Day Surgery. I've also done some contracts nursing up. Kim drugged me. It was actually minus 50 in Dawson. I just want to clarify that. And I'm not a winter person, so that was an opportunity of growth for me. And yeah, I'm so excited to be, this is my first Zoom call. So thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I'm so excited. We had an amazing response. We hosted the live events for the Inspired Women's Brunch, and it was absolutely awesome. We had such a great time and honestly reached out to a lot of women, and it was really, really powerful. And it was in that moment I just knew that I was in the right place, doing the right thing for the right reason, and it felt really amazing. So with that being said, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of overview. My talk tonight is gonna be a little bit mostly about mental health. That's kind of my passion. And 3 main topics, which is self-care, personal growth and development, and community or family. I did make some notes, so I'll try not to ramble. I'm actually gonna just start a timer here so I don't keep you guys all night. It's respectful, and I will just refer to them as necessary. So yeah, so Juice Plus and my relationship with that was Kim introduced me to it over a year ago, and I didn't really have a lot of health problems. I was a pretty healthy young person. I was active. I didn't have any weight to lose, but I knew that health is extremely valuable. I work in the ER, and I have a lot of sick contacts at work. And I was actually constantly getting sick, especially after any time I ever worked in pediatrics. So that's children, because they love to hug and touch you and kiss you and give you their slimy germs. Moms definitely understand that. So I was finding myself sick a lot. So I'm happy to say that one of the best parts of Juice Plus is I haven't been sick since I started taking the product over a year ago, despite working the shift work and the stress and doing the same things I was doing before, basically just a lot healthier now. So I'm really excited about that part of it. And then with that being said, because I'm a nurse, I have to go to work in order to make money. And so if I'm sick, I don't get paid, and I work casual. So if I don't go there and work, I don't make any money and I can't pay my bills. So my health literally is my wealth and my survival. So I'm so happy that I found something. It's kind of like my insurance policy to get me by. When some days when you maybe don't get as much sleep as you need, you don't drink as much water as you know you should, or you're not getting the proper nutrition that you know is really important to fuel and maintain your health of your body. So yeah, I signed up for Juice Plus with thoughts of thinking, oh, I'll just, for the discount, because I'd fallen in love with the product already. And the huge tax break was just going to be an extra added benefit. And what I didn't realize was I was going to get those two things and a whole lot more. And I'm going to talk about that because that's the most exciting part about Juice Plus is the community portion of it, and what I like to call my Juice Plus family. So my 3 topics tonight were the self-care, personal development, and community. So I'm just going to start talking about self-care, which Cindy and Kim both talked about already, so I won't go too much into it. But something I mentioned already is that without our own health, we truly have nothing. We can't do the things that we love with the people that we love in the time frame that we want to do it. If you're sick and you're in the hospital, that's your main priority, and that's all that you can really do in that moment is take care of yourself. So self-care should be number one. And as Cindy, I know, mentioned that a lot of us, I'm not, but many women are moms, and we're so used to taking care of everybody else, and we're always the last person that we take care of. And same for myself as a nurse, I always find myself making sure that everyone else in my life is okay first. And then at the very last second, I look at myself and do the self-care. So it's been really important. I've been reminding myself of the importance of self-care and doing those as more of a practice. As a nurse, it's really stressful, the job that I do, working in the ER and just having people's lives in our hands. You can't make mistakes, and sometimes there's really high stress situations, and you really deal with a lot of people's emotions, and they're having what they think is the worst day of their life. So you have to do a lot of reassurance, which takes a lot of energy and time. And at the end of the day, sometimes there's not a lot of energy or time left for yourself. So some of the ways that I like to release, because I think it's really important to have a positive release factor, something that you can always turn to in order to just do your own self-care. So my favorite is that I like to live through music and I express myself through music. And I like to dance, even they always say dance like nobody's watching, but I don't care if anyone's watching, I just dance anyways. And I also love to read and watch either TED Talks or listen to podcasts of interesting things that I like. And what I found through that was that I found a lot of personal development information really, really interesting, because I learned a lot about myself, and I was able to actually take the things that I learned and put them into action. And it was really beautiful to see the results that you can see just by making, we talk about one simple change, doing the small things, adjusting your daily modes of operation in order to get different results. It was really beautiful to really discover that through a transformation process that I've been going through. So that brings me to my second point, the personal development and growth, which brings us to a bit of a story time. So I mentioned that I was going to talk about mental health. So I know that a lot of you might be friends with me on Facebook or have met me in person, and what you guys often see on the outside is what I like to describe as my highlight reel. So the things people post on social media are things they're excited about, they're passionate about, that they love. So on my page, it's full of lots of smiles, excitement, inspiration. I love to travel. I have a huge passion for travel, so tons of travel pics and different cultural experiences. That really gets my heart going and my blood pumping. But what a lot of people don't know or realize about me is that I have a really big struggle with mental health, and I've been struggling with mental health most of my life. And what I didn't realize, it wasn't until I had what I call when I hit rock bottom that I really realized that I was struggling and that I did need help and I needed support. So it was actually August 19th of this year. It was the night before my 26th birthday, and I had a situational crisis. I didn't have the supports in my life that day that I needed. I wasn't able to reach out because I wasn't in the proper headspace. And I found myself really, really low and suicidal, actually. And I share this with people because I know it's a bit of an uncomfortable conversation to have, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it. But that's why I'm so passionate about mental health, is because I know that just like me, I have a story from my childhood that was a bit traumatic, and it's kind of shaped me to who I am today. And I know that my story is not entirely unique, that a lot of people have experienced traumas in their life that have shaped them into who they are today. And that what you see on the surface or on people's Facebook pages, or the facade that maybe they're putting on that day, might be masking a lot of stuff that's actually going on in the background that nobody else is aware of. So I was a situation like that. No one had any idea that I was struggling in the way that I was. And it wasn't until I myself realized where I was at and that I didn't want to be there anymore, that I was finally able to reach out and get some help and get out of that deep, dark place. That what I found after the Inspired Women's Brunches is that I'm definitely not the only one. I share my story at those events. I have a bit of a deep, dark story to share with people that I'm not quite ready to share on a recorded video yet, but I love to go and have these events in person so that I can really feel the energy from the people in the crowd, and so that they can feel my heart and my energy as well. And that's the best way, I think, to connect. After these events, I had so many women come up to me, and I thought maybe they might say things to me like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so shocked. I can't believe that, you went through that." But what I realized is that they weren't really shocked. They came up to me and they finally felt safe and connected to somebody, and they said, "Me too." Everyone had a story. Everyone had a trauma of their own kind, in a different way, something that had caused them to be who they are today. And sometimes those pasts aren't really all that shiny. While I'm on that note, just to lighten the mood a little bit, I love that Kim earlier, and I think Cindy touched on it as well, talked about how we aren't a product of the things that happen to us. Those things, sometimes they weren't up to us. We didn't get to decide for that to happen. And that doesn't define who we are today. We define who we are today. And you make that choice every single day, which is a really powerful and a beautiful thing. So with that being said, I just want to talk about, so my background is my family. There was many people in my family that struggled from mental health. And it led to a lot of domestic violence and alcoholism. And basically, as a child, I was living in fear every single day. I had no idea what kind of situation I'd walk into when I got home from school. I isolated myself in my room or away from the house whenever possible for my own safety. I found later on in my adult life, these things that happened to me as a child were showing up in different behaviors that I hadn't even realized and wasn't even aware of. I had extreme anxiety. I suffered from low mood. Some might call it depression. And I also noticed that I had anger issues. It was really strange because I just thought I was an angry person. And after I hit rock bottom and I took the time to really delve into myself and my own mental health, I realized that maybe what I was actually experiencing was something more like the symptoms of PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm sure most of you guys have heard about it. There's been a big campaign going around for 22 push-ups for 22 days to acknowledge the 22 medical and Army personnel that take their own lives every single day as a result of PTSD. So it is a pretty serious thing, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, and I know that we need to talk about it. Just gotta check my notes to remember where I'm at. So yeah, I know that for me, that these traumas, they kind of shaped me and made me who I am today, and they showed up in my world as fear, anxiety, depression, and anger, but they can show up in many various ways in other people's lives: anger, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, guilt, fear, other personality disorders. Everyone has a story, and everyone has experienced some kind of trauma, and everyone kind of copes and develops in a different way. And that's really like the most beautiful thing, is that we're all human and we're all so unique, which is really amazing. I love that about humanity. So after I started dealing with mine, I tried to reach out to who I thought would be my biggest support system, which was my family. Even though we had been through some tough times, they were always there for me. They were always super supportive and very understanding. And when I went to reach out to them after I had a situational crisis in August, I didn't exactly get the response that I was looking for. I explained what was going on in my life and my challenges and what I had done. And I expressed that I wasn't feeling that way anymore, but that I was definitely in a transformation process and that I was healing. And instead of my family being supportive because they were part of the trauma, they felt as if I was attacking them. And the response was not supportive. It was actually quite negative. I had to remove myself from my own Thanksgiving dinner to drive myself home because the situation got really out of control, and it wasn't at all what I was expecting. And it was in that moment actually that I had the opportunity to really connect with Kim, one of my best friends, who I knew before Juice Plus, but we've become so much closer through the business, working together every single day and helping add value to people's lives and really trying to change people's lives for the better. And I called her and I explained what happened. And she said, you have to always remember that people respond in a different way and that they don't always have control over their responses because they might not be aware enough that it's actually a reaction, not the response. And that the people that we look to for support, they still love us, and everything they say and do is coming from a place of love, but they just have a really hard time expressing it in that way. So she stayed on the phone with me for the whole drive home and talked everything out. And it was after that I realized that what Juice Plus really meant to me was that not only did I love the product and that I wasn't getting sick anymore and that I was able to share it and help people every single day, but that it brought me closer to my support system, or what I like to call my Juice Plus family. So when I share this story in person, I like to give Kim a hug right now because she means a lot to me. And I also have to mention that there's another lady that I met through the Juice Plus family. Her name is Roxanne. And I don't know if anyone of you guys have had an opportunity to meet Roxanne, but she's a really beautiful person. And she is a hypnotherapist, a life coach, a grandma that takes care of 2 young children, and a mom of some mental health issues as well, with her daughter that she shares about. And I know that she's just as passionate as I am. And it was really beautiful that I was able to connect with her through the Juice Plus family and that she was able to help me. She offered lots of resources and support and really helped me through like what I would like to call my rock bottom or my deep, dark space. And on that note, I just want to thank everybody for listening to my story. I have so much more to say, but I don't want to keep everyone on here all night. And I really just want to express to everyone that my passion, when I say my passion is mental health, it's because that I know everybody has mental health and that I know it's a part of everybody's health. And now that I've experienced what I have, and I know that I have a really powerful story and a really powerful tool, and now I have a beautiful vehicle, which is Juice Plus, that gives me this opportunity to reach out and help share and inspire women to help themselves whenever possible, to remind them about self-care, to share with them the personal development and growth that I've been through myself and some of the resources and stuff that have helped me along the way, and hopefully that they can help them too. And that offers kind of a safe place and a safe person that they can confide in if they need it, because I know sometimes that's all I needed. And that's what Kim was for me. So on that note, I just want to say thanks everybody for listening, and I'm going to give it back to Kim. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing. You have such a big heart, and I'm sure everyone can tell that just listen to your story. They can see why you're my best friend is because you care so much about other people, and it's such a blessing that you joined my team, and it brought us closer. because that's the thing is when you sign up with a network marketing company, you get teams and you never know what you'll get. But what I found is I got lucky with the team I signed up with. So if someone invited you on this call, I encourage you to get back to them because they honestly just care so much about you and they wanted you to be a part of something that changed their life. And so that's why people reach out to you about this product and this company, is because it's changed their life in some way and they truly care about you. So it's just amazing. So I think we'll leave you with 3 options at the end of this call. Option A is we really hope that something we said tonight inspired you, whether it was a tip we gave you or just maybe the feeling of like, I'm not alone in this feeling that I was feeling is a beautiful thing. So that's option A, is we hope that you got something out of this call. Option B is if something Cindy said about the product interested you, then we encourage you to get back to the person that invited you to this call or watch this video, because they cared about your health so much that they wanted the best for you. So if you're interested in the products, just get back to that person. And option C is if something about the business resonated with you, then you're more than welcome to join our teams and just inspire healthy living around the world. Like I said, it's so much more than just a business or a discount on a product. It's just a beautiful gift. And something we didn't touch on is that it's not just network marketing, but it's a way of creating security for yourselves. And we forgot to mention that this company at the top level gives a full benefits package, like medical, dental, health benefits, and tuition reimbursements for kids. And we can't speak enough about it. So option C is all the possibilities that the business could await for you. But overall, just A, B, or C, just choose what's best for you. Another thing me and Linnea really focus on always is thinking of what serves us best. And we make choices based on what's going to best help us, because we can better help the world if we better ourselves. So I'll go ahead and unmute the call, and everyone can say a little something if they want. If it gets too loud, I'll just go and shut it off. So I'll stop the recording now, and then I'll unmute it. Thank you so much for being a part of this call. It means a lot to us that we could share from the hearts. And whoever sent you this recording or invited you to this, just get back to them and thank them for it. Thank you so much.